If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but are none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
So this is Doug from Salt Lake. Uh, so I apologize. I've been extremely busy. It's Christmas season, and I work in the freight industry. So for those who are following along, I went to court and they dismissed my case. And I truly believe that these people think that they can just dismiss your case and that you're not going to appeal. Now, I wanted to just touch base and tell everybody to have good holidays. I will be appealing. I'm going to show you some paperwork right now because we are going to appeal this case. So let's start with the order given by Diana Bradley. And this is what she wants the judge to sign. Okay, certificate of mailing, right? Done by her. She wants me to sign it and approve it. All right, well, I'm not going to, obviously, because then that would be admitting jurisdiction, and these motherfuckers don't have anything. So, anyway, this was an order, and a judgment came with it. The judgment just says the defendant's motion to dismiss is granted. The case is dismissed with prejudice, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's it. So, what do? Well, we file a notice of appeal. So, and you also have to read your procedures for a notice of appeal. Hey, and once again, everybody that is subscribing to my channel, I've got almost 1,000 people now, and I really appreciate it. I hope something out there is benefiting someone. Um, this is a real struggle. You know, once you try to leave the plantation, I've said this many times, once you try to get off the plantation, man, they are not going to let go. Okay? They want money. They don't want money. There is no money. They want currency. Okay? They want to milk your ass as much as they can. All right. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. So this is the notice of appeal. If you read your Rules of appellate procedure. The first thing you have to do is file a notice of appeal. You got 30 days. But if you read it, it's not until you have a signed order. Okay, that's the time. So let's read this real quick. Okay, you can see what's going on here. Andrew Stone, case number. So comes now me, authorized representative of my trust. Hereby notice of appeal. Representative Dmoomey has not received the order as of the above date and understands that the appeal process does not begin to run, okay, that's your 30-day run, until I have received a copy of said order and judgment signed by Andrew Stone. The AAG, Assistant Attorney General Bradley, sent an email copy of the proposed order, but this is considered a proposal and is not an order, nor is it a judgment. When Mr. Stone reads, possibly changes, adds or subtracts language, and signs the order and signs the judgment, then the 30-day time for appeal will begin to run. Once I receive the order, I will send an official notice of appeal. Okay? Certificate of service. This notice is being mailed to the Stone Court, Appeals Division, Utah Court of Appeals, tracking service purposes, address, proof of service below, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Douglas Richard Dmoomey, representing the Douglas Richard Dmoomey Trust. Okay, so there's me, there's the trust, certificate of service, right? Okay. Now, I got an email from these people. I'm not going to share that with you, but we went ahead and filed a opposition, because you got to get everything on the record, okay? Opposition to proposed order and judgment, okay? Now, what am I opposing? Because they want me to approve it and just sign it, and I'm not going to. Comes now, blah, 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 blah. Okay, to hereby this notice, this court of opposition to the proposed order and judgment received today, November 29th. Okay, that's also important. Always date everything, people. Okay, please. Always date everything. Okay, so you can keep a record of this stuff. Okay, because I still haven't got anything, so the 30 days does not start running yet. This proposal is false, misleading, filled with presumptions, and is not approved for the following reasons. Okay, number one, A, the plaintiff, Douglas Richard Dmoomey, appeared pro se, false and misleading. Well, let's take a look at that. Okay, here's the order granting motion to dismiss again. Okay, and there it is right there. The plaintiff, Douglas Richard Dmoomey, she's trying to make me the plaintiff. She knows I'm not the plaintiff. She knows that I am the authorized representative of the plaintiff. It's just like this bitch right here is not ORS. Okay? ORS is represented by her. Douglas Dmoomey was representing Douglas Richard Dmoomey, the plaintiff. Okay? See how they do that? See how they fucking do that shit? Okay. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but they put it in here twice. Okay, it's got to be, here it is again. Because Dmoomey is proceeding pro se, his pleading should be liberally construed. Okay, they're trying to make you the plaintiff. You're not the plaintiff. You're not the all cap name. Okay, sorry, I had to take a breath. Okay, so number 1A, regarding the order granting defendant's motion to dismiss. The plaintiff, Douglas Dmoomey, appeared pro se. That's quotes. That's false and misleading. Mr. Dmoomey is private, a third party representing his private trust. And this is an attempt by Bradley to assume jurisdiction and label me a public status. Okay? They're trying to make you public. On page 2, I assume, because no page numbers are on the document, under the standard of review, she again tries to push a pro se status. Pro se is not my correct status and must be removed from this proposed order. Number 2, under analysis, Mr. Dmoomey's claims based on the enforcement of a child support judgment are untimely. Quotes, false, misleading. The language used by Bradley is misleading the court to assume this amended complaint has to do with a divorce. It does not. It is about a debt and has nothing to do with the court's or the state's authority to enforce child support, because they do have the authority to enforce child support. Okay? And they have it against persons. Ha! Do we all know what persons are? Corporations, ens legis, item sonens, right? Corporations, franchise, LLCs, all that, right? Nor does it have anything to do with time. Okay? She said that the time ran. B. Bradley's analysis is also filled with Utah code this and Utah code that, none of which apply to debt verification and validation. Utah code is your private corporate procedures and policies and only apply to you. Number one, it's an entirely and will be removed from this order, and it is not approved. So number one is their analysis. Mr. Dmoomey has not stated his claim. Oh my God, really? False, absurd, and ridiculous. My claim for relief is spelled out in infinite detail in my complaint, and I gave the court many avenues to explore. I tried to help you, Stone. However, Bradley and I agree completely on two things: offer and acceptance. The below paragraph is approved because it states correctly that ORS and Mr. Dmoomey are not in contract, and that ORS's actions against this man are without the required meeting of the minds. And I took this right from, let's just see. Okay, let's just go over here and look. Construing, okay, that's, making it sound the way we want it to sound, okay? Mr. Dmoomey appears to seek damages from ORS for its enforcement of child support judgment. There it is again. That's a fucking lie. Okay? Entered against Mr. Dmoomey on 2006. Dmoomey versus Dmoomey. Okay? Utah court docket initiated the child support enforcement action on June 30th, 2010. So what happened between 6 and 10? You know what? We're not going to get into that. So anyway, we go down here. Mr. Dmoomey has not stated a claim against ORS. Okay? Under the principles of basic contract law, a contract is not formed unless there is a meeting of the minds. You're goddamn right. Hey, I agree. Anyway, so they go in there, and two elements must be necessary: form and enforcement contract, offer and acceptance. Okay, so we've been through all that. Okay? She sent me an offer. She said, you owe us $25,000. I said, I offered, the first document in your three-part acceptance, in your administrative process is your notice of acceptance. Okay? So you offer me something and I accept it, and they still dismissed it. So this one is approved. Bradley is absolutely correct when she states Mr. Dmoomey alleges he demanded $100,000 and warned ORS that its failure to respond to his demand would constitute acquiescence and create an enforceable contract. ORS did not respond. This is misleading because Bradley did not tell the court that ORS sent Dmoomey an offer first. And then when Dmoomey responded and forced them to prove their claim, then they went quiet. They went quiet because they have no claim. Under the principles of basic contract law, a contract is not formed unless there is a meeting of the minds. Yes, that is correct. Okay? Two elements must be there: offer and acceptance. Yes. Okay? An offer is a manifestation of willingness to enter into a bargain. Yes. So made as to justify another person in understanding that his assent to the bargain is invited and will conclude it. Yes, it's a contract. Yes, I agree. Yes, totally. And then persons, false. Everyone can read and look up the definition of persons in Black's Law Dictionary. Not approved. None of these documents are signed by a human. Fraud, false, color of law. No approval until a human signs these documents. Remember, you said it, not me. There has to be a meeting of the minds. A man cannot be in contract with a corporation, nor can a corporation communicate with a man. One is real, one is a fiction. No approval unless Bradley signs under penalty of perjury that these assumptions she wrote down on paper are true, correct, and not misleading. As to form, judgment is not approved on counts 1 through 4. Order and judgment should be changed to without prejudice before approval. Reminder, you are my public servants. You will stop treating me like property. You, Bradley, will contact a senior agent at ORS and adjust this account. And there's a certificate of service. So, I received this the other day from the Supreme Court of Utah. And this is my appellate case number right there. And they have a kind of a weird way of doing it. I didn't write the Supreme Court. I wrote the appellate court. You can see right here that I sent one to the Attorney General Appeals Division. I sent one to the 3rd District Court, and I sent one to the Utah Court of Appeals. Excuse me. So why is the Supreme Court getting involved? So if you read it, it just says basically that the Supreme Court has jurisdiction, but they can what's called pour, P-O-U-R, pour out, okay? That they can pour this down to the appellate court. And then they want $300 cost bond. They want $200 for the filing fees. I'm not paying any of that shit, okay? And we'll go into that into another video. So, but yeah, this is also kind of cool. So this dude right here is the Assistant Utah Solicitor General. Well, this ought to be fun. Who's this fucking punk? Huh? So, Mr. Clifford J. Peterson hereby appears as counsel of record for ORS. Mr. Peterson requests that all future pleadings and correspondence regarding the above captioned matter be mailed or mailed to him at the above address. Note that the P.O. Box must be used for mail to be delivered. You know why they do that? You know why they do that? Because a P.O. Box is not a real address. And you cannot provide proof of anything. So, this ought to be fun. I don't know who this punk thinks he is, but he's not a party to this either. But anyway, you guys have a great Merry Christmas. My dad's coming out from Arizona. We've got a ton of presents under the Christmas tree because I am so fucking blessed. Oh, by the way, December 12th, in 2 days, I will have 5 years clean and sober. Amen. Praise God. So I will never give up. I will never give in. I will never surrender.
If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but are none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Merry Christmas.